good evening, Titan Nation. How's everybody?
What's going on, Titan Nation? Welcome in to TNT POSTGAME. I am your host, Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and as you can see on the graphic, let me know what you think of the graphic. Does it look good or not? I'm trying to improve my work, but the subject matter of this postgame is going to be somewhat focused on the man that you see here, head coach Brian Callahan. As the Tennessee Titans absolutely, excuse my language, shit themselves in the bed yesterday, losing 10-6, and I did it so wrong that I put the wrong team up. Let me stop that right there. I put the wrong team up. You know, that just adds to the embarrassment of yesterday. That I have the Texans up instead of the Jags. I'm going to fix that very, very fast. And I have that out to everybody. So everybody will see it, be like, it's not the Texans and Jags colors. I'm like, yeah, too late. I'd already put it out. So it is what it is. You know, mistakes are made. You learn from them. And that is exactly what I am doing in the immediate process. And this Jags game was horrible. Again, definitely make sure y'all share this show out. Let everybody know where to come, whether it be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Definitely do that for me and for this channel. And just trying to fix something real fast. Because some of my stuff basically kind of changed up on me a little bit. There we are. Okay. Seeming that the loss is so bad that my microphone decides to want to act funny again. I mean, isn't that telling? Isn't that bad? You know how it's all going to crap already. And it was just like the game yesterday. It was boring and it was bad. And we're going to get into all of that. But the Jags lose. Make sure y'all follow me on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Super chats are definitely appreciated. Appreciate everybody coming in. Louis coming in saying, Jack Del Rio arrived in Nashville yet? No. Looks like Vanderbilt's going to the Birmingham Bowl. Memphis is going to be in what's called the Frisco Bowl down in Frisco, Texas against West Virginia, December 17th. Parker Davis says, fire Callahan. I refuse to see another season like this poverty. Reggie B, what's up? Head coaching candidates for 2025. I mean, all those feelings are valid. All those feelings are valid and warranted because it was a absolutely humiliating performance by the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans basically just decided they didn't want to show up and play football. It's like they forgot how to play football, and they forgot how to do the very simple things. That's the worst thing about it. The Jaguars are one of, if not the worst team in the NFL, and you couldn't even beat them. It's like you weren't even trying. They were sleepwalking through that game. And I'm going to be honest with each and every one of you. Excuse me. While that game was going on, I went to sleep. I fell asleep on some of the game because it was so terrible to watch. It was so terrible to watch, I fell asleep through part of the third quarter into the fourth quarter. It was that bad of a football game. And we're going to get into more of that. But they were humiliated, embarrassed, and, Buck Rising said something that I think was absolutely right in what he said. He said it, and I could not agree more. And I'm trying to see if I can find that video just now. I did just like it, so here it is. This is Buck Rising on his show this morning talking about this game.
Whatever it cost you to watch that team poop out 6 points yesterday, too much. And then to hear a lot of positive things twice in the opening statement. We just talked about mind-numbing comments a week ago from the post-game locker room. And there's plenty of stuff from the post-game locker room in this one to get to, too. But I felt so badly for those people who went to that game, who watched that, and then all to have a two field goal lead for the bulk of it, and to see the Jags just be like, all right, enough of this. 10 points in the fourth quarter, let's go home with a dub. It's not even like, the line that I've used a lot this season is sometimes it's not felt like professional football. Man, that's the only lower level that I can go to is unserious. That was a completely unserious performance yesterday. And I'm pissed that we have to start the show with that on a Monday when Tennessee is in the college football playoff. But this is different. This is a totally different type of loss. Toy Field is tomorrow. 2 years ago at Toy Field, John Robinson got fired. Again, I don't know what they're going to do, but that is the kind of loss that could cost people jobs. I'm not going to sit here and come in here irrationally angry and say that people should be fired today or yesterday or whatever. You got 4 more games of this slop, and then do what you're going to do at the end of the season with whomever you're going to do it with or whomever you're not going to do it with. But I don't know. I'm glad she was in attendance yesterday, Amy Adams Strunk. They had the My Cause, My Cleats game. She came out in her custom. I think she had some Jordans on yesterday. I'm glad that ownership was in attendance to watch that, to see how empty the stadium is as they get ready to open this new palace to whatever in downtown Nashville and call it the new Nissan Stadium, the home of the Tennessee Titans, when they sent their fans home in the rain after that.
Ladies and gentlemen, where was the lies? Where was the lie? I can tell you there was none. There was no lies told by Buck Rising there. That unserious is an excellent word. I would have went with, and I know A to Z does one word. My one word was absolutely lethargic. It was lethargic. It looked lifeless. That was a pathetic football team. Two pathetic football teams playing each other. And it's like, who wanted to win this game? I don't think anybody did. Now, I know what I've always said. Losing is good. Losing is good. However, I was listening to, I think, Cover 2 with Zach and Blaine on 104.5 today, and Zach brought up some excellent points that kind of made me think, oh, losing might not be good. Like, what are we losing for? Because he basically said, this could be a similar situation to Zach Taylor and Dan Campbell. Of course, Zach Taylor, head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. I believe they went 6-10. They went 6-10. They went 6-10 the year, and then he gets hired as head coach. Goes 2-14 in his first year. The following offseason, they're the number one pick. They luck in and get Joe Burrow. Ding, dang, dong. Things get better going forward. They end up in the Super Bowl. And they're in the playoffs almost every year except for maybe this year. Dan Campbell, on the other hand, Lions were 5-11. I believe his first year started 0-10. I want to say, or 0-8, and then they finished the year strong or whatever. And then they go and trade for Jared Goff. They trade Matt Stafford to the Rams. And not only do they get Jared Goff, but they get draft picks that turned into people that have helped them. And, well, we know the Lions are really, really good now and are on a collision course possibly for the Super Bowl. And you think maybe the Titans are in the same situation. We went 6-11. We went 6-11. Fired Mike Vrabel, thank God. Hired Brian Callahan, and we're thinking Callahan could take this team at least in an upward trajectory. And for the last couple of weeks before the Commanders game, we thought maybe we were starting to head in that direction. But now the bottom has completely fallen out. There is no incentive in winning any more games this year. They have 4 games to go. Reluctantly, I will be at the game next week with my younger brother coming in town because he loves the Bengals. He loves the Bengals, and for his Christmas present, I am taking him to the game, Titans-Bengals. And probably going to get to watch an absolutely atrocious performance by the Tennessee Titans this coming Sunday. I'll be glad to be in Nashville. It'll be the first time in maybe over a year and a half I've been there to see my people. By the way, I believe I'm going to be in section 126. I think I'm going to be on the other side of where I normally would be. Definitely hit me up if you're going to the game on any of the platforms. Definitely would love to see some of you. But the bottom is falling out. It's humiliating. We're going to get to Callahan in just a little bit because it's awful. It's awful. The only good thing that came out of this game is that the Titans moved up a spot to 6th in the draft order. They were 7, now 6. And really they should be 5 because they right now own the tiebreaker over Jacksonville because we lost to them. But Zach mentioned something on 104.5. It's like with Callahan, Where do we go? Because right now, if you look at this upcoming draft class, there is no Joe Burrow. According to a lot of people, there is no Joe Burrow. There is no Justin Herbert. There is no Patrick Mahomes in this draft. It's Shedeur Sanders, who has Dion basically in his ear and trying to control everything. You got Cam Ward, who has just come into his own this year. You know, did a couple of nice things at Washington State. And then Miami, they're not even in the playoffs either. Colorado is not in the playoffs. And then after that, you really have, after those two, who else do you have? Jalen Milroe he will be like Malik Willis. He will suck. Garrett Nussmeier, I've never really heard of and never heard anything about. Quinn Ewers has completely fallen off. I mean, the only one that I might have a little bit of hope maybe coming up that nobody's talking about is maybe a Dylan Gabriel at Oregon, a Jackson Dart at Ole Miss. Those are at least a couple of guys that I could see maybe with a good off season, you know, either Senior Bowl and Combine, maybe get into the conversation. And I say maybe. So, like, what do you really do? Drafting a quarterback might not be the best option. Keeping Will Levis is definitely not the best option. He mentions going with Sam Darnold. Only problem is two things. One, Sam Darnold's going to cost a lot of money. And two, what Sam Darnold are you going to get? Are you going to get the Sam Darnold that is looking like he's resurrected himself in Minnesota, although he's had some issues? Or are you going to get the Sam Darnold that was in with the Jets when he was first drafted? I don't know. That is a complete anomaly. So we don't know what Sam Darnold you will get for $30+ million. Because you're going to have to pay him a lot of money because he'll be the popular choice. So I don't know what the Titans will do at quarterback, and that is their biggest that is one of their biggest problems. I'm going to read some comments before we go into the good, the bad, and the god-awful, because there's a lot to talk about there. Daniel Berry, what's up? Louisiana, I watched the Pittsburgh game. Parker Davis said, that performance gets people fired. An offensive mastermind put 6 points on the worst defense in football. I agree with that. Titan said, you think the Jaguars are bad? Hold my beer from Pinball. He's not wrong. I tuned into Rated R TV to watch the Turd Bowl. I mean, that's not wrong. My one word was eliminated, and we are eliminated from contention. Dan Campbell fought in every game. Lost by one position every game, and T put up 30, 40 points. Callahan just wasn't a good hire. Right now, that's what it looks like. That is exactly what it looks like. It looked like Brian Callahan is way in over his head. Like he has no idea what he's doing. Like he's just write some more paper, throwing it out there to see if it works. And that's pitiful. Absolutely pitiful. And so I really don't know where to go from here. As a Titans fan, you just gotta, it's like we're being punished for something that we did. Now, Sportacular said, PK said Chad Brinker and team president Bert Nihill had a long conversation outside the locker room. Oh, there needs to be a lot of conversations that needs to be had. Because like Buck said, Amy Adams-Strunk was there, usually there at every game. But I'm pretty sure Amy Adams-Strunk saw how, how the stadium wasn't full, and you're opening up a new stadium, and this team looks like a mitigated disaster. So where do you go from here? And that's where we get to the good, the bad, and the god-awful. And crazy as it's kept, there is some good out of this. Number one, the game was fast. The game was about 2 hours and 45 minutes. The game started at 12. I had to work my other job, so I had to be at my other job at 5. I was actually able to take a nap. I was actually able to take a good hour, maybe hour and a half nap after the game was over before I had to go to my other job. Because the game was over with at about 2:45. That was fast. And Sportacular, Chad Brinker shouldn't exactly feel safe either. But the game was fast. The game was fast. It was quick. They ran through it, which was smart. That is one good thing that came out of this game. It was fast. Got it over with. Don't prolong the agony. Don't prolong the agony. So it was fast. Number two, I got to give props to Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard, 21 carries, 102 yards. He reached the end zone, but the touchdown was called back. And I see Cincinnati and Dallas playing tonight. Now, we're getting Cincinnati on a short week, but I don't think that's going to matter because we still stink. We still stink. Now, some other good I forgot to mention. Welcome back, Cheeto Beawuzie. Cheeto comes back, gets his first pick as a Tennessee Titan. He did get an interception. Now, the defense wasn't horrible, but you give up 10 points in the fourth quarter, not good. When you basically could have shut the Jags out because the Jags are that horrible. They are. They're terrible. And you just proved you are worse than them. Absolutely worse than them. Now to the bad. The game was boring. No excitement. No cinema. No suspense. It wasn't a thriller. It was a horror movie. It was a horror film. One that will scare your kids and they'll have nightmares at night. That's exactly what this game was. Like I said, I went to sleep during this game. It was so boring. The Titans acted like they couldn't score to save their life. You get 2 chances to win the game. You don't kick field goals. Will Levis misses. You had a chance to get to Nick Westbrook-Akita maybe for the game winner, and Nick NWI can't haul that one in. Then on the other play, one, He led Calvin Ridley extremely too far, and when Ridley makes the catch, Ridley's momentum takes him out of bounds. Ridley's not able to stop on a dime and turn up field for a first down that they desperately needed. And then Will Levis, on a throw on fourth down, throws to the end zone. You got two Titans there. You got one guy in Chick right in front of him, wide open, nobody around him. And then you got Nick Van Nett, who has a man draped all over him. Where's Will Levis going? To the guy that's got the defender draped all over him. Instead of a wide open Chig, which would have won you the game. Terrible decision making. Which is why Will Levis, I've said before, just isn't it. But the problem is you have nowhere to go. And then the offensive line, J.C. Latham, who had not a great game. I mean, just whips on Josh Hines Allen, and he obliterates Will Levis, which might have caused an injury to his throwing shoulder. Of course, Will Levis tried to power through it, but it was to no avail. So the game was boring, lifeless. And I don't expect any other game this season to be any different. This team stinks. You got 4 games to go. You got Houston, Jags, Indianapolis, Cincinnati. You got Cincinnati next week. Joe Burrow could have a field day. So it was boring. And then there's the god-awful, which is I'm losing hope in Brian Callahan and this Titan team. If I haven't already lost it. I'm mainly talking about Callahan here. Lost hope in the Titans this season, that's already been done. I knew this season was over with a long time ago. But I'm really truly starting to lose faith in Brian Callahan. And for the longest time I've tried to defend him, I have said that he should deserve another shot as head coach, at least one more season. That's at least what I thought. Luke says Levis and the Titans are done. It's simple as that. So take it how you want. Take it how you want. I mean, Titans were done a long time ago. And I was out on Levis a long time ago. So I'm officially out on Levis and Callahan. Stonehouse, everybody can hit the road. Clean house all the way. Sportacular said there were fans in the stands with paper bags over their heads. I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. I don't. It is an atrocity what we're witnessing. And I'm going to play you a clip from Brian Callahan, his press conference after the game. And then I'm going to give you my thoughts. Brian Callahan after the game.
A lot of positive things, disappointed in the outcome, but our defense played the tails off today. I thought we covered well on special teams. They're challenged to not let them start outside the 30. We never let them do that. We played great run defense for most of the game. And then at the end of the day, we needed to score in the red zone. We were 0 for 2 down there. That's the difference in a tight ball game in a divisional game. And that's you got to score touchdowns down there. We did. So we're 0 for 2, and that's the difference in the ball game. You know, again, I thought there was a lot of positive things. We put ourselves in position and didn't execute what we had to have at the most, which is down there tight. I mean, I'm disappointed in the outcome, certainly. But at the end of the day, we didn't do enough to win again. So, positive things, disappointed in the outcome.
What did that sound like to any of you? That sounded like a coach who he sounds defeated. He sounds like, I have tried everything. I've thrown everything but the kitchen sink, and I've probably thrown the kitchen sink too, and nothing just seems to work for me. That's what it sounded like. Talking about there were a lot of positive things. You lost 10-6 to one of the worst teams in football, which now you are. What positive things were there? And that was courtesy of A to Z Sports, and of course, Buck Rising, same thing, courtesy of A to Z Sports and the Buck Rising Show. He sounds lost. Like, he acts like a coach that has no clue what he's doing at all. Like he has no idea what he's doing as a head coach. None. And that's pathetic. If you've been, and let's add this to the fact. You have your dad on the staff who was a former head coach. If anything, have you thought about sitting down, talking with him, saying, hey, Dad, I don't really know what I'm doing right now. I could really use your help. What would you suggest for me? Now, I'm probably thinking they have had this conversation. If they haven't, shame on Brian Callahan for not admitting to his dad, at least of all people, I have no idea what I'm doing. Dad, can you help me? Because he very well should. I'm like, I thought perhaps with Bill Callahan on staff, hey, you know what? If he gets in any trouble, his dad can help him because his dad was a former head coach. He's been in this situation before. His dad can help him. But it's terrible. And so a lot of positive things ain't a lot really positive to look at. And Luke said it's going to be the same way next year. I mean, if they keep the status quo, you're absolutely right. It is going to be just as bad next year, if not worse. Both teams were trying to lose by Marvin Lawrence. You're right. Go ahead and promote Denard Wilson. I mean, is that going to really do any good? I mean, defensively, we couldn't hold the Jags out of the end zone. We had them shut out for the majority of the game, and we just didn't finish the job. Luke said he sounded like that all year. Luke is definitely out. And I mean, I agree. Offensive line ain't much better. I agree with that. Denard Wilson doing more with less. Now, Denard Wilson, I can't blame him. Parker Davis said, do you see Callahan getting fired in a month? I'm going to go with almost a reference to somebody that probably none of us really want to, talk about, R. Kelly. My mind's telling me no, but my heart is telling me anything could happen. And I might be all right with it. I could definitely see a scenario, and I do think, is Brian Callahan bad at coaching right now? Yes. I mean, well, let me change that. Is he a good football coach right now? No. Does he deserve at least a chance at one more year to see if he can right the ship? Yes. I'll say that. I think he should at least get one more season to see if he can maybe prove this year was a fluke. You know, maybe follow the road of Dan Campbell and Zach Taylor. See if after, the first year, because he even said himself the first year will be the toughest, and let's see if he can rebound. Maybe. However, with that being said, if Amy Adams Strunk decided to clean house, if she will fire Brian Callahan, as much as I love my frat brother Rand Carthon, you might as well get him the hell out of here too. And just start fresh. Hire a new general manager, let him hire a new head coach, and you try to find any way possible to go get Shedeur Sanders before the Raiders do. You got to find a way to get ahead of the Raiders, because it seemed like Shedeur and the Raiders could be destined for each other. And Marvin said he will not be fired. They're tanking. I mean, they should. I think they should have been taking all year. Callahan is learning the position right now. Here's the problem. You don't have time to learn. MHVACR. You're absolutely right with that. Don't get me wrong. You are absolutely right. He's trying to learn the position, and he's having to learn it on the fly. However, you got to know how to do this. Marvin says he needs 3 years, any coach. There's the problem, though. A lot of times, yes, a coach might need 3 years, 3 to 5 years, but a lot of coaches do not get that type of time. The urge to win is fast. People are expecting coaches and quarterbacks to win immediately. Again, the Thanksgiving game. The Thanksgiving game against the Bears and the Lions. Bad clock management, putting Caleb Williams in a bad position. What happened? Matty Eberflus got fired, which should have probably already have happened. Frank White, an experienced coach last year, started off 0-10. They fired him, and he wasn't even finished with his first season as Carolina head coach. And they stunk. NFL stands for not for long. This is a what have you done for me lately league. And I agree with that, Parker. That is exactly what will happen. If they run it back with Rand and Callie, both of them are on the hot seat next year. Absolutely. MHVR said, gotta be patient. There are no good quarterbacks in this draft. There's no good quarterbacks anywhere. Marvin Law said the Raiders will not lose another game. No, you probably mean the Raiders won't win another game. The Raiders won't win another game. And they're probably not. The Raiders are probably not winning any more games this year. If you take a look at their schedule, they're down a quarterback. I mean, look at their schedule coming up. And this is the Raiders. They got the Falcons, the Jags, the Saints, and the Chargers. Now, they could beat the Jags, which would be nice. They could beat the Jags. I don't know if they will. And they could beat the Saints. If they do that, that puts us in good position. I don't think they're beating the Falcons, and I know they're not beating the Chargers. Our hope is that they beat the Jags and the Saints. The Giants, on the other hand. The Giants, another team that is ahead of us. The Giants have the Ravens. They're going to lose that one. They have the Falcons. They're probably going to lose that one. They have the Colts. Might win that one. And then they have the Eagles. They'll lose that one. they might win. And the Giants could be in position. So again, there's not a lot of hope. Not really a lot of good quarterbacks anywhere. Probably running it back with Levis next year. Most likely. And I don't like that because I know exactly what this means. Name a team that's going nowhere. The Tennessee Titans. Sportacular said, I felt ashamed and embarrassed to wear two-tone blue. I think we all feel that way. There is talent on the roster. Coaching is a problem. There's a problem in three very important positions. Offensive line, quarterback, and coaching. And it's going to be a long, slow off season. I do agree. Louis says we don't need a quarterback. Oh, we don't? So you think Levis is just that good? You think Levis is good? He's not. He sucks. We do need a quarterback. The only problem is, where is this magical quarterback going to come from? If it ain't Shedeur Sanders, maybe it's Cam Ward, but Cam Ward could be a bit erratic. But we will see. But this season has been horrible. It's been terrible, and there's no ways around it. This team is lost. And and I think it goes back to another thing that I've been hearing quite a bit recently. What is the identity of this team? Now, remember Brian Callahan saying something about say wants two words to represent this team. Resilient and relentless. That was what he tried to make the identity of this team. Resilient and relentless. We haven't done very well at being resilient. Being resilient to me means bouncing back. Like after the game against the Commanders, you bounce back, you perform better, and you take care of business against the Jags, which they did not. Relentless means always attack. Offensively, we don't do that very well either. So the identity of this team is bad. And they're going to, and that's another thing, MSVACR, rebuilding year, rebuilding ran. That's the problem. They did not want to admit that this was a rebuilding year, that they needed to start over. They thought, oh yeah, we got everything we need right now. We can compete. We're going to go for the playoffs, and we're going to see if Will Levis is the guy. You clearly see Will Levis is not. You tried, it failed. Just if they had admitted that this was a rebuilding year and that, we're just going to try to, build this team up to be a winner, and we're going to see if Will Levis is the guy, and we're going to do everything we can to win some games, and we'll see, where we are at the end of the year, but we are rebuilding. If they had said that, I know it would have been a tough pill to swallow, but I would have accepted that because at least they're telling me the truth instead of lying to us. They lied to us. And so if Amy Adams Strunk decides to fire Rand and Callahan in the coming month, it would not surprise me. I would have liked for them to at least get one more shot, and then they're both on the hot seat, but I would understand. I would understand completely. Because it's time. I mean, this direction is not working. So they're going to have to figure out something, and they're going to have to figure out something fast. They're going to have to figure out what the direction of this football team truly is going to be. Because resilient and relentless ain't working. Too undisciplined. Special teams is a disaster, minus Stonehouse and Nick Folk, which you may lose one of them in Nick Folk next year, so you're probably going to be looking for a new kicker. And we know how we've had issues with kicking. So I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. We can't even take what the defense gives us. Very true. Miss Amy should have a podcast called Titans and Lies. I mean, that's all they did. They lied to us. So I really don't see any hope in the Tennessee Titans. This is, if y'all need to see this, this is why I don't do live streams when I work on Sunday, because this is where I end up at. Mugshot Bar and Grill. They're mainly in Mississippi and some parts of here in Tennessee, like here in Memphis and also in Mississippi. Their burgers are excellent. Their burgers are excellent. You definitely, if you're ever anywhere where there is a Mugshot, y'all need to check them out because they are delicious. And I like working there. I like the people there so far. They got them mainly in they're mainly in, Mississippi. They're mainly in Mississippi and some parts of Alabama. They're in Mississippi, Tennessee, lower West Tennessee, and in some parts of Alabama. And I think they got a couple in Florida. They got one in Florida, too. So, and I think they got one in Louisiana. So, yeah, so like Hattiesburg, Gulfport, Pensacola, Mobile, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham. They definitely got some in Mississippi. So, if you're ever down here in the South, check them out. Their burgers are delicious. I help cook some of them, and we make sure that they're good. Blast TV says Callahan's seat is sizzling. It's getting warm. Let's see. Zari says, what's your stance on fans not showing up to games? Me personally, I don't fault anyone for valuing their money and time. I mean, that is a third of the reason I'm not a season ticket holder anymore. Most of it is because I couldn't afford it right now. I had to take care of some other things. I do plan on renewing my tickets at some point. And I liked what Blaine said. He was like, hey, tickets for that new stadium is extremely too high. And a lot of people, they're trying to sell PSLs for that stadium, and they're probably not getting a lot of people in on it. Some people on the wait list probably taking themselves off. And I mean, those prices are too high for the product that we're seeing right now. But maybe with the team being as bad, maybe the prices go down. And if the prices go down, then I might be interested. Right now, I am in no hurry to renew my season tickets right now, based on the pathetic product I see this year. So I don't blame them. I agree with them. You should not spend your hard-earned money on an atrocity like the Tennessee Titans right now until they prove to us they are a winner, and they're at least building one. And maybe I will work on that maybe for next year, maybe a call-in option. I will definitely see about that. That would be interesting. That would probably be a very long show, actually. Maybe that's something that we can turn that into. Maybe we could turn it into something where y'all call in and we talk about it. We'll go a couple of hours, have some fun and things like that. Maybe we'll do that for a little bit. 6 points against the worst defense in the league. Absolutely. Need better coaching. They had to know he was green around the gills, never call plays or run things. Now, that is true. The fact that he never called plays is a detriment. It's a big-time detriment. And you need somebody that has at least called plays before. I think you do go with an offensive-minded head coach, but you got to have somebody that has called plays before. And that might be another thing I may do. I know some people, they have their season ticket, they bomb, they pay all the money for them, and then they sell some of their tickets and they make their money right back. I'm like, it's a brilliant strategy. Cole Anderson should have been fired a long time ago. I 100% agree with that. But it is what it is. But everybody, I'm going to get ready to call it a night. Congrats to the Memphis Tigers. They're going to the Frisco Bowl. The Memphis Grizzlies are on the road, winning 10 of their last 11 games. I'm feeling good about them. Dunks of the day yesterday as well. The Titans were bad. The Memphis Tiger basketball team crapped themselves too. Losing to Arkansas State. That was a very bad loss for them. And so they stink. They stunk on the court yesterday. They are a good basketball team. They just stunk yesterday. They, like the Titans, thought they underestimated their opponent, and their opponent beat them. And that's what happened. And congrats to the Vols. Looks like they're number one in basketball, and they're in the college football playoff. They're playing Ohio State. I think that's going to be a good one. So good luck to Tennessee. Everybody, thank y'all for tuning into the show. I'm your man, Blue Enforcer, a.k.a. The Truth. Again, make sure y'all, and I haven't even done this all day, smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Everybody, smash the like button on your way out the door. Also, make sure you follow on Spotify, iHeart, Google, and Apple Podcasts. I thank y'all for tuning in. And y'all have yourselves a good night, and tighten up. That's all we know how to do. Good night, y'all.